welcome back for another episode of the Mark and the Matt Sports Talk Show. Today we got two special guests on the spicy podcast we got today. Today we got the man, the myth, the legend, Andrew. What is up, man? How you doing?
Doing pretty good. Thank you for having me, Marco.
Hey, no
it.
problem, man. You know what I do. And then we got my second guest here, Eli. I believe in Eli. What is up, my guy?
Sir, what's up, y'all? Thanks for the invite, Marco. I appreciate it, having me here.
Hey, no problem, man. And we have our good old guest here. We got the man, the myth, the legend, Anthony. How you doing?
Not bad. Glad to be back on.
Hey, it's nice to have all you folks here, man. We're at the NBA All-Star break. We're at the halfway point of the season right now. You know, we saw KD and LeBron choose their teams, but that's not what we're going to talk about today. What we're going to talk about today is our predictions for the second half of the season. Yes. What do we expect going forward? Right now, we have the standings in front of you. It'll be on your screen for the video. And if we look, we have some surprises. I mean, where do we even start here? If we look at the West, I mean, the Jazz have come completely out of nowhere. And then the East, I mean, the 76ers are actually doing something, which I can't even believe, you know? So, but starting off with our first question, all right, which team has surprised you guys so far? And you guys had to pick one team from the East or the West. Starting with Andrew. Andrew, which team, pick one team from each conference that surprised you so far?
Geez, for the Western Conference, it's pretty close between the Jazz and the Suns, but I mean, I expected the Jazz to kind of be in the playoff race. I did not expect the Suns to be in the playoff race at all. So I'm probably gonna have to go with the Suns as surprising team, or that I'm most surprised with. Mainly. And for the Eastern Conference, I'm probably going to say, I'm probably going to have to say the 76ers being first in the playoff race. They're first right now over the Nets, Bucks, and Celtics, who are doing now I'm pretty sure, all healthy. So, that's also another surprise for me as well.
Interesting take there. You know, I kind of expected the Bucks, to be good, and the Nets, when they acquired James Harden, which we'll get to in a little bit. But Eli, do you agree with Andrew, or are you thinking differently here?
So, with the for the Western Conference, I am going to agree with Andrew. The Suns are a team that kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, they had that run in the bubble last year, but I don't think much expected them to be above Lakers and Clippers. I did not see that coming whatsoever at all. So, and then the Eastern Conference, while I agree the 76ers came out of nowhere, well, actually not out of nowhere, but now they're first, something they don't do too much. The surprise team that I'm going to take is the Charlotte Hornets. They used to be at the very bottom, and as soon as they get LaMelo and Terry Rozier, they're starting to go off now. And I think them being in the playoff picture right now is something that's going to go on for a while with LaMelo there.
Wow. You picking the Hornets? You're not going with the New York Knicks or wow, okay. Anthony, you're the last one here. Are you on board with these guys here? Or I don't know, man. It's a little spicy.
You guys, I have to disagree. The Suns, to be honest, I kind of expected them to be pretty good. You got Chris Paul, who just carried an OKC team this past year, the year before. So I figured they were going to step up their game. I mean, to me, the Jazz are by far the most surprising team. And to be honest, I think the key is Bogdanovic. The dude, the sniper, can hit from anywhere on the court. You can't leave him alone. So he's really been able to spread the floor for them, allowing Mitchell to get his shots and really just opening the court. So I didn't see the Jazz being where they are. And I think they have a good shot at making a run in the Western Conference. I mean, obviously all depends on Anthony Davis' health, I think. But they could challenge the Lakers. I for sure see that happening. As far as the East, come on, guys. It's got to be the Knicks. I know.
Yes.
I mean, look where they came from. Remember a few years ago, Phil Jackson, they had hired a guy, Jamil Okafor, who was on crack when they got him. Okay, and now look where they're finally at. Like they're finally a team that's playing. They're playing good ball. They're playing with young guys. I mean, they're balling out, and I just got to give it to the Knicks. Finally, they showed up, and it'd be nice to see them at least get into the bubble. And they're probably not going to do much, but at least they got something to look forward to, New York. So I'll give them that.
I think Stephen A. Smith would be proud, Anthony. I think he would be proud of you. You know, the fact that the Knicks are not a clown show of an organization anymore. I mean, who would have saw that? I mean, you know, but you're all wrong about the West, though. I'm going to have to disagree with all of y'all. Yes, the Jazz are a big surprise, but I mean, the Jazz have always been a good team. I feel like they've just been, you know, on one of those borderline teams that are okay, but not great. But to me, the biggest surprise is the Trailblazers. And now let me explain why. CJ McCollum and Damian Lillard are one of the two best guards in the game, duo in the game, okay? And, you know, I believe Curry and Clay are the best, but I mean, you could argue McCollum and you could argue Damian Lillard are the second best duo. And to me, if, you know, I thought when McCollum got hurt, because he has a history of being injured, you know, he's unfortunately made of glass and he's always getting hurt for them. And he's a good player, but he's always getting hurt. And I thought, you know what, the Trailblazers, they're going to die. There's no way. You're going to get some team like the Grizzlies or Warriors getting in the playoffs. But no, Damian Lillard had activated Dame time. He's been clutch, and I'm impressed. I was talking bad about you Trailblazers, but you guys impressed me. You guys are like legit within striking distance of the Jazz. I'm gonna give you a little round of applause. I'm impressed.
Yeah, this is like the typical Blazer season. This always happens. I don't see any difference, to be honest. I mean, the Jazz are what, 24-5?
27-9, and then the Blazers
27-9. Come on, man. No one saw that from the Jazz. 27-9.
I feel like the Trailblazers are, you know, they usually get hurt, you know. I mean, not what it's called. McCollum
that always happens.
He's literally made of glass, but finally, you know what? I'm really seeing like why people are so high on Damian Lillard. He will always say Damian Lillard is one of the top players in the game, but to me, I will give you this: he has to prove in the playoffs. To me, he has not proved he can beat one of the top teams in the West. He couldn't beat Curry, couldn't beat my man LeBron. So it's really going to come down to the playoffs. But so far this season, I'm impressed with Lillard. I thought they would die off, but they have not. They're like right in the thick of it. And I'd argue they'd give the Clippers a run for their money if they played them in the first round. So, but in the East,
I agree.
Yeah,
you would agree with that? You know,
absolutely.
You know, they give them a run for their money. But in the East, my man Stephen A. Smith, if you're somehow watching this, I agree with you. The New York Knicks, I mean, they were a clown show of a team in New York. I mean, New York's the Mecca, is one of the biggest cities in the world, and you put it on a circus on the basketball court. I mean, that's pretty embarrassing. But to finally see the Knicks actually be somewhat relevant or doing something is like the equivalent of seeing the Cleveland Browns actually be good this year.
I think the real question, it just doesn't matter. I was just thinking, like, how long can they really keep this up for, though? Like,
I know Tim's playing out of his mind right now.
Thibodeau's got him playing 50 minutes a night, and there's not even 50 minutes in a game.
Julius Randle's been a surprise for sure. I like Julius Randle. I think he's a great player, and the Knicks are smart. And the Knicks I think they're smart for re-signing him. And I think if Knicks can just be, actually competent, it'd be nice to see them do something for once. So, those are my surprises, but
I agree with a few, but Trailblazers, I'll have to pass.
Man, Trailblazers, wow. You have no faith in Dame time, I guess. Better get a stopwatch. Better check your time, Anthony. Well, going from the most surprising teams, we need to go to the most disappointing teams.
Disappointing.
Anthony, we're gonna start off with you. Who to you in the West, in the East? Pick one team from each conference has been the most disappointing in your eyes.
Yeah. I'm gonna say in the West, I'll have to say, I gotta say Dallas. I mean, they out here. You got Kristaps Porzingis, supposed to be a superstar, and I mean he hasn't shown up. He completely disappeared. I mean, he's got some offense, but his defense is horrendous, absolutely horrible. He's not the same player he was before, and it feels like, what's his name? I'm forgetting his name now. Help me out here, guys.
Luka?
Yeah, Luka.
Luka Doncic. Yeah.
Luka, I feel like he's playing hero ball every night just to try to carry him. I mean, it's quite disappointing what they put on the court. But despite all that, I mean, they are an 8th seed. I thought they'd be higher, but they got to learn how to play. They got to learn how to play some team ball together and try to figure that out. So I don't know what type of show Mark Cuban's running over there. But besides that, in the East, I mean, it's got to be I would have to say Toronto. I mean, they started off slow, won a few games, but unless they pick it up here, they're gonna find themselves out pretty soon. I feel like, so they gotta somehow find back their mojo and get it back rolling. But to me, they were kind of disappointing.
Yeah, well, they're turning the playoffs right now, but the East is just terrible comparison to the West. So
yeah,
That's
like
accurate.
yikes. But Andrew, who do you think this been the most disappointing in your eyes so far this season?
For the Western Conference, I was debating between the Mavericks and the Pelicans, because I thought the Pelicans were gonna make a good run, especially because like they have a good young team, especially with Brandon Ingram, who's supposed to be kind of on the rise. But the thing is, I mean, he's kind of at like a little plateau right now. I haven't really seen him like prove that he can lead a team yet, and yeah, that's mainly the reason why. And also like with the pair of Zion Williamson in his second year now, all-star. I mean, right now they're doing, I mean, they still have plenty of like time to make a good playoff, like to make the playoffs. They're only at the 11th seed right now, so in the West, right? Yeah. So
Yikes.
I mean,
And,
I think
and
they
this
still
year,
got time, but
yeah, they got
Yeah.
the play-in this year.
Yeah.
Like if you make
Yeah.
the 10th seed, you could play in.
Oh yeah, and that too.
So they still got a
Absolutely.
chance.
Oh,
Exactly. They're in a little
nice.
spot that they can either move down or they can continue to move up. So, and then for the Eastern, for the most disappointing, I'd probably have to say, sheesh, it's kind of tough for this one.
He doesn't know who to choose because
I
they're all
mean,
pretty bad teams.
They are. I mean, they are. I would just say I was expecting a little bit more from the Heat. Just from me personally, I was expecting more from the Heat for being 18-18. If that was in the West, I'm not just to compare, but just to be compared, they'd be around 8-9 seed right now in the Western. That's pretty low. And especially from going to the finals, it was this recent year. So, I mean, and they have I think they still have all their main players, right? Their main key players. They really haven't been doing too much with it. I mean, they're in the playoffs, but it's a little low for what I was expecting.
I agree. Yeah, definitely. I will agree with you. I think the Heat is pretty disappointing. If I had to choose a team from the East, the Heat are pretty, for a team going to the finals, being 18-18 is like, come on, you got to do better than that. But Eli, my man Eli, do you agree with these jokers, or you're on the fence about it? You're not on board?
So I agree with the Mavericks. The Pelicans, I kind of knew they were going to kind of be trash. Well, not exactly trash, but like they're kind of they're a young team and they kind of still need to figure themselves out. I'd give them a year or two until they actually reach their potential. But for me, in the Western Conference, this is going to be kind of controversial, but I'm going to say the Denver Nuggets.
Ooh.
Oh yeah,
Now
The
that's
Denver
a
Nuggets are
take.
disappointing me because Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray got so much money to do like almost like 20 points a game right now. And even though they're 6, they're 21-15. That's good. There's no lie about that. 21-15 is good. But the Denver Nuggets potential is so much better than 21-15. And I kind of thought after their run in the bubble that they were going to do so much better. Coming back from all the 3-1s, I thought they were going to do so much better. But it looks like Jamal Murray kind of just died down. They've lost some games that they shouldn't have lost. And going over to the Eastern Conference, I do agree that the Heat are disappointing. I mean, going from the finals to now 6 when they were like 12th at some point. But actually, I'm going to say the Boston Celtics.
Wow.
The Boston Celtics are disappointing to me. They're 4th in the East right now, but it's in the East. It's nothing special right now.
Yeah,
19-17, they're about the same as the Warriors right now. And the Celtics are what I would say kind of a more complete team as of now. But even though they're young, Jason Tatum is supposed to be leading that team, and he's not exactly doing that right now. And they have Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, 2 All-Stars this year, and they're 4th. Yeah. I was expecting more like being better than the Bucks, but they're not doing bad. It's just this seems a little disappointing of a season for them to lose a lot of games. They were on like a 5-game losing streak this year, and that's not exactly something you can do if you're the Celtics right now.
I feel like it's mainly though because of Kemba.
Really?
His health, yeah.
He's been hurt, and I think without Kemba healthy, I think they need a third.
Mm-hmm.
A guy who can, just hit a shot when they need it.
They need 3 All-Stars.
Sometimes they just need it.
Wink, wink. Yeah, I totally agree. I'm going to be honest, I have to go just the Heat. Yeah, the Heat, you guys explained it, and I went over earlier. They're just disappointing going from the finals in the bubble to where they are now. Mm-hmm. But in the West, I'm going to actually say, for me, the most disappointing team right now, in my opinion, is actually the Lakers, in my opinion. I expected more from them. And I don't know if this is just like a championship hangover. We get it. LeBron, he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Anthony Davis, he's a great, player as well on their team. And they got a very deep roster that's going to go far in the playoffs. I'm not concerned about that, but I think only being 3rd and behind the Jazz and the Suns is a little disappointing. I expect them to be maybe the 1st or 2nd seed. I expected, obviously they're a half game or 2 out of the 2nd seed or the 1st seed, 3 games out. I just feel like they're a little sluggish. I don't know. I don't feel like they're that. Like last year, I felt that the Lakers were a shoo-in for the final. Then once the Clippers got eliminated. But this year, I don't feel that way. I feel the balance of power in the NBA is kind of like, and we'll go over this in our next topic, but it's kind of evened out. I don't feel like it's just the Lakers and then everyone else in the West. I feel the West is on par. So this year's going to be interesting.
I wouldn't even necessarily be disappointed. I mean, with AD hurt, they started off playing good ball, I feel like, when he was in there and healthy. And although he wasn't playing very good, but they still were winning. So I don't know if I'd put them as disappointing, but they do need to step up their game if they want to stay atop the West.
Yeah,
I guess that's just true. What I'm saying. If you're LeBron, any team with LeBron's gonna have expectations, regardless of their Cleveland, Miami, and so that's why I kind of put them up on that pedestal. That I have expectations where if you're not one of the top teams with a team with LeBron on it, then you're kind of disappointing me. And so, granted, the injury of Anthony Davis, I'm glad you pointed that out, is affecting them, but I feel like they could just do better. I feel like they could easily just be the 2nd seed. And maybe when AD comes back, they'll be better. I'm sure they'll be better, but I don't know. They just leave a lot to be desired. Not a lot to be desired, but just a little bit more.
Yeah, I think it also shows what happens if Anthony Davis does get injured again near the playoffs. How are they going to hold up? I don't think they're going to hold up very well because as it can show, they've been losing a lot of games lately, especially with him out. I don't think LeBron, especially at his age, he can only do so much. He can only do so much at this point. Well,
I'm going to have to disagree on that, but that's a topic for another time with LeBron. But
LeBum.
Whoa. I'm a Warriors fan, but he's not a bum, but all right, our third question.
Dude cannot hit a clutch shot.
This is more.
He does miss a lot of layups. like clutch.
You really
logos.
gonna question this man? This man just won a fourth NBA final. Are we really gonna question this man's
I
legacy?
could argue it.
Are we gonna question this man's legacy?
No, no.
What?
It was a
who
little
was there to
easy.
watch it? Come on, man.
Okay,
He had
you know
no
what?
fans,
This
no
is a tie for
pressure.
another time. We gotta move on.
Please.
Alrighty. If you all, yeah, I'm sure you all heard the news. If you're living under a rock, James Harden got traded to the Nets, and he had there's now a super team in Brooklyn, New York, with Durant, Kyrie, and with James Harden. Let me ask you guys, and I'm not gonna pick anyone. Anyone could just shout out and say it. Does James Harden guarantee the Nets will make the finals this year in the East?
First off, I didn't even know James Harden got traded to the Nets. No, I'm just messing. No, I'm just kidding. But in my opinion, in the beginning, the Nets were looking a little shaky just with KD and Kyrie. But now that kind of Harden's back, also after that, the trade that what happened, the Rockets. I mean, I think they're starting to finally get a little chemistry going on. They're getting hot right now. So by looking at like the Eastern Conference, they're only, in my opinion, the only real two, in my opinion, it's two. I think the only real two threats are the Celtics, if they start heating up, if they get coming back too, and the 76ers. The Bucks, I don't really see as too much of a threat, mainly because if you can get Giannis.
You're gonna disrespect Antetokounmpo like that?
Well,
Really,
he can't shoot. He can't
shoot. Exactly.
Yeah.
They in the playoffs, they always figure him out, I feel like. So, I think the only real two threats are 76ers and the Celtics. So, other than that, I wouldn't say it's a lock, but it's a pretty good chance they could get to the final. Pretty good chance they could get there.
Yeah, the Bucks don't know how to play fundamental basketball. They just give it to Giannis and have him run down the middle. Not using football terms here, but that's literally what they do. But to be honest, I think it's a cakewalk for the Nets. You got, as long as James Harden doesn't take the last shot, they should win.
I think I have to agree with both of you guys on that. I wouldn't say it's like a guarantee, but it's easier to get to the finals being here in the Eastern than the Western. The only two that I see getting in the way is 76ers and Celtics, like Andrew said. It's not much more than that. Bucks can run you for their money, but that's if they don't run through everything through Giannis. If you spread out the floor besides Giannis, then they have a good shot. But as soon as you just try to run it through Giannis, you double team Giannis and it's over.
Well, I would argue the Sixers, I think, have a better chance than the Nets. And you're all going to see, you think I sound crazy. Okay, the Sixers, my man, have Tobias Harris. They have my man,
Harden.
Joel Embiid, who is an all-star, was on the first team all-star, probably one of the best bigger men in the game. And then you got my man, Ben Simmons. Oh, I got to love
Rick
me some
Simmons.
Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, I feel like they have the team that can make the Nets, give them a run for their money, in my opinion. To me, the Nets are good. But the Nets, to me, I need to see them against good competition. I feel like they're just beating up on a bunch of Eastern Conference teams like the Knicks and the Heat and the Hornets. That's not really for me. For me, it comes down to what you can do against the Sixers and what you can do against, I guess, the Bucks. But y'all saying Antetokounmpo is bad, but I disagree. I feel like it's going to come down definitely to the playoffs. Harden has a reputation of choking in the playoffs. Maybe his beard's too long or whatever it is.
Yeah, it's KD and Kyrie now, though.
Durant was with the Warriors. As much as I love my Golden State Warriors, Durant was literally on a super team. Literally. I don't think I need to see my man in the playoffs do something. You got another super team. Do I even need to talk about Kyrie? Kyrie's literally like an old fart. Come on. Kyrie Irving is overrated.
His face right now.
You all need to stop putting him on this pedestal. Kyrie's the only one I'll give a say that has the most playoff experience. He's come clutch in the past, but Durant and Harden leave a lot to be desired. Durant and Harden leave a lot to be desired.
I think I'm gonna have to disagree with that.
I think Harden and Kyrie can absolutely hold themselves in the playoffs, especially KD. KD,
KD,
He knew he was that NBA Finals MVP. He was
The
over
Rockets
Curry.
literally. How many times did the Rockets choke to the Warriors? How many
Oh, no,
times did the Rockets
absolutely.
choke to the Warriors?
Rockets.
In the
I
playoffs?
mean, they had Harden and CP3, and they still couldn't beat the Warriors. But the Warriors also had KD. Curry,
Well,
wait,
Clay.
what is it?
I would have
Remember,
to say that
okay.
Rockets
What were you
could
gonna say,
have been
Eli?
the Warriors.
What are you saying, Eli?
I was
Oh
just
yeah,
trying to-
Rockets had the potential
Rockets
to
could
beat
have
the
been the
Warriors.
Warriors. Only reason Warriors won. I'm a Warriors fan too. Only reason Warriors won is because CP3 got hurt. CP3 doesn't get
I
hurt.
totally forgot about that.
Rockets
Yeah.
are gonna beat them.
Nah,
Possibly.
bro. KD
They'd been close.
will bring it home, dude. The dude can pull up from 30. The easy
In your
money
face.
sniper. He owns Cleveland. That's his second home, okay? Besides Brooklyn and
No,
Golden
check that.
State.
He owns LeBron. Check that. Yeah.
Owns LeBron. I mean, the dude hit it on the
Twice
twice, not just
Okay,
one.
okay. So are you?
Twice.
Let me ask you something right
in
now,
the
Anthony.
finals.
Right now,
It
are you
wouldn't
guys
matter
picking the
most.
Nets to go to the finals? Right now, is that your prediction for this year from the Eastern Conference? Are you picking the Nets to go to the finals? I need to know.
From the Eastern Conference, I am taking the Nets. Okay. I'm looking at their schedule here, and they were like on a 7-game win streak. They had defeated the Warriors, Kings, Suns, Lakers, Clippers, and Kings again, and
Sheesh.
all in a row. All in a row.
Without KD.
That was
With-
yeah. That was,
Well,
that
I
was,
wouldn't consider
man,
Warriors
I don't
much of a
even-
challenge these days. I mean, they're a shell of them former selves. Unfortunately, without
Who?
Klay Thompson, the Warriors. So I wouldn't consider that too much of a challenge. And then the
Don't get me
Lakers
started on
lost
the Warriors.
AD. AD's hurt. So I mean, you're basically facing a crippled team with just LeBron James on it. So I mean, I got to see in the playoffs. To me, Harden and Durant leave a lot to be desired. I need to see them. They
Durant,
leave a
you
lot
got-
to
you're-
be
You
desired.
sounded like Max Kellerman.
You know what? And you know what? Max Kelly got Carson Wentz situation right. You guys were all laughing at him, but he was right. And you know what? They leave a lot to be
Come on.
desired. So I'll believe it when I see it. I'm picking the Sixers to go to the finals, and they're gonna play
Yeesh.
against. And you're not gonna believe this. I'm gonna pick the Clippers. Kawhi Leonard versus the 76ers. Philadelphia against the other LA team. You're all gonna be like, no way. You guys are all overhyping them Jazz, them Suns, the Nets teams. I'll believe it when I see it. No,
I like the
contest.
I like the Clippers take. I don't like the 76ers though take. I'm gonna have to say, in my opinion, I think it's gonna be the Nets. Oh man, the Western Conference is just so. The Western Conference, I feel like it's just so difficult to choose. I feel like anything can really I feel like the top the top 4 teams can literally be any of those guys. Well, the Suns. I don't know. Suns is it. Man, I'm gonna have to take.
Suns got a chance.
I'm gonna have to say the Jazz. I really am. Donovan Mitchell's going off right now. He's out there to prove
Jazz.
something. He's absolutely out there. Donovan Mitchell's out there to prove something. Everyone's talking down on him, saying that he's not good enough. I think he's out there to prove something. I think it could be the Jazz. I'm gonna say Jazz and Nets.
you
I'm
know,
just gonna take Jazz.
I respect both of y'all's. I mean, Clippers, I can see it, but Clippers, they find ways to like self-destruct on themselves. And as much as I love Paul George, he hasn't proved nothing in the playoffs every year he's been in there.
But Kawhi Leonard has, okay?
Pandemic.
Kawhi
Pandemic
Leonard.
peace.
So you're gonna say Kawhi Leonard's done nothing?
I'm not
You're
going to say
gonna
Kawhi's
argue
done
that
nothing.
James Harden done something, but not Kawhi Leonard? Come on, man.
No. That's not what I'm saying. But Kawhi, he had that 1 year with the Raptors where he was able to carry him. He cannot do that with the Clippers. He doesn't have his. The Clippers aren't as well-rounded as a team than that Raptors team was back then.
And
And
plus,
then-
the Warriors weren't fully
No.
healthy either.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Warriors weren't fully healthy either.
Okay.
Blast
Hold
me
on,
out of
hold
your
on.
mouth, but okay. Go ahead, Anthony.
Okay. Kawhi is clutch. Okay. The dude, when he needs to get a shot, he can get a shot. Okay. Whenever he needs to. I believe that. The problem is he's also got the most non-clutch player in the league next to him. Paul George can't hit a shot in the playoffs for his life. The dude chokes so bad. I mean, I never thought I'd seen a guy who just so bad when it matters most. Yeah, playoff P, pandemic P, it don't matter. Lakers in full.
Lakers.
Yeah, I'm
Dude.
thinking Lakers Nets. That's what I'm thinking. I think Anthony Davis comes
I think
back.
that's a safe pick.
You know, it's gonna have some good battles. I think in the playoffs for sure. My sleeper could be the Suns, depending on if CP3 finally breaks his curse.
That's
you
another
know-
choker you're talking about right there.
Right? I know.
Yikes.
So, but if he somehow pulls it out, I could see them giving the Lakers a run for their money. I think they got a pretty solid group down there in Phoenix. But yeah, I'm seeing Lakers Nets and KD putting on a show once again.
Okay. So you pick Lakers, Nets. I pick Sixers and Clippers. Andrew, you pick. Did you pick Jazz, right?
And Nets.
Jazz and Nets.
yeah.
And Eli, have you picked yet or no?
I have not picked yet.
All right. We need last pick to end the show. Who are you picking to go to the finals, man?
Like Anthony said, it's a sleeper team, but the Suns are gonna go. Suns are a crazy shooting team. Chris Paul is playing back almost like his prime, and Devin Booker's Devin Booker.
Their bench is also very deep.
The bench is deep.
They're pretty cheap.
I think it's either Cameron Payne or Elfrid Payton they got on that team, and he's balling out right now. I think it's Cameron Payne.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, it's
Payne.
Payne.
I am
What's
impressed
going
with the Suns. To me, the Suns and the Knicks are like the Cleveland Browns and the Jets of like the basketball world. Like, it's nice to see that bad teams are starting to do good now. You know, so I definitely agree. I like Devin Booker. You know, I've always said he was rotting on a corpse of a bad team, which was the Suns for a long time. But it's nice to see the Suns are actually doing something. So I definitely agree with you on terms of I like the Suns, but I just don't see them being better than like the Jazz, the Lakers, and the Clippers.
No, debatably, I think the Suns have one of the most all-around teams right now in the NBA.
I think they do. They do.
As in bench depth and then just a starting lineup. I think.
And DeAndre Ayton too.
Yeah,
DeAndre Ayton's doing really well too.
He's a baller. He's a baller.
I guess what it comes down to, do you choose Devin Booker or LeBron? Because that's what's probably going to come down to.
No, it does not come down to that.
Yes, it does. It does. It's going to come down to LeBron and Devin Booker. Or it's going to come to Kawhi and Devin Booker. Who you all going to pick? Who are you all going to? Are you going to tell you to take Devin Booker over LeBron?
If you can't. It's not going to just come down to Kawhi because the problem is he's got, again, Paul George.
Well, to Paul George's respect, this year he's balling out right now. It's in his respect.
Regular season, though. He always does it regular season.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Gotta wait till the playoffs.
Wow.
I mean,
maybe he can change the script. Maybe he can flip the script. We'll see.
Every time I think of Paul George in the playoffs, I just see Damian Lillard waving at him.
Oh.
Sheesh.
The blasphemy right now. I can't. You know what? We'll have to wait and see. We're going to have to wait and see. Well,
also, I have to clarify something. It was Lamar Odom who was on crack, not Okafor. My bad.
Okay.
It was Lamar Odom. But
yeah. Okay.
Just to clarify that
For
for all our YouTube viewers out there, it was Lamar Odom.
Yeah, well, he's probably watching this right now, being like, "Go Knicks!" So. But you know what? That was a great show, guys. Oh, that was fun talking about basketball with you guys. I mean, we're just going to have to wait and see. Sadly, our Warriors are not doing as good as we would expect them to. But you know what?
Hey, Kelly Oubre balling out.
Oh, my gosh. No.
I'm pretty sure that dude can dunk on anybody.
Pretty much. I mean, the last game he dunked and LeBron just moved out of the way.
And just took all the criticism, put it away. He's going off now.
He is flipping it on near the second half. He's going off.
The problem is Andrew Wiggins decided to slump.
Exactly. Right when that's what I said. Right when Oubre started to go off, now Andrew Wiggins wants to slump. It's just tough.
Well, we're all just gonna have to wait and see how it plays out. But thanks for watching, guys. There's gonna be timestamps in the video below. Link to our Instagram. Please follow us and follow us on YouTube. Thanks for watching. I'm out. Peace.